Hi, I'm Liam Doherty, and we've just had a full moon in the sign of Libra. Libra is about balance. So this is about balance with ourselves and other people because it rules connection, it rules, relationship. So this is about relationship with self. And now we're moving into a new moon in the sign of Aries, which is the initiator of the zodiac. So this is about beginning something new within ourselves. So we'll feel the energy of that. And this brings me to transmission 14 from the mirror grid. When the mirror burns and the ego looks for an escape route, welcome to Distortion Dialogue, where truth enters the room. And ego starts looking for the nearest exit. Have you ever noticed that when something real gets said, when a mirror actually lands, some people suddenly become philosophers? Suddenly, everything's relative. Everything's their truth. Everything's non-judgmental. Everything's about keeping the vibe high. But here's what's really happening. Truth started touching something real, and mimic started talking. Let's take a walk through the bypasses the mimic reaches for when truth gets close. You've probably heard these. And if you're ready, you'll feel where they fall apart. This is Distortion Dialogue. That's their truth. My truth is different. No, that's not truth. That's preference wrapped in a boundary. Truth isn't personal. Distortion is. Everyone's on their own path. Yes, but some paths are loops. Not every path leads home. There's no right or wrong. Sure, until someone lies to you, cheats you, abuses you, then suddenly right and wrong matter. Don't judge. Translation: don't reflect me. Truth isn't judgment, it's clarity. If it cuts, look at what's being cut. That's just your opinion. Usually said when what's being shed isn't opinion, it's structural. And someone doesn't want to see it. I'm just doing what feels right for me. Which is fine, until what feels right is just familiar distortion dressed up as self-care. You're being too intense. No, you're just being exposed. Intensity is what truth feels like when mimic is losing control. We're all mirrors for each other. Yes, but that doesn't mean every reflection is equal. Sometimes the mirror is right in front of you, and that line is just a way to scatter the impact. That's their stuff. That's nothing to do with me. That's for them to sort out. Sometimes that's true. And sometimes it's just the quickest way to step away from being reflected. A way to keep distance when something lands too close. Not because it's wrong, but because staying would require your presence, and your presence would require honesty. Not judgment, not lecture, just the mirror held steady. And this is where remembrance matters. Because remembrance isn't one idea among many. It isn't a preference. It isn't a philosophy. Remembrance is the most important thing a human being can do on this earth. beyond your career, beyond your wealth, beyond how you're seen. Those can all be mimicked. Remembrance can't. Because remembrance isn't about gaining something. It's about ending what was never true. It's the undoing of distortion, the collapse of mimic, and the return to the undistorted field you were always encoded with before you learnt how to perform, adapt, or survive. And remembrance has a cost, not a price, a cost. Because everything else we're taught to value operates on currencies that can be mimicked. Many things can be shared, taught, or offered. Remembrance can't. Remembrance is the one currency that cannot be traded, because remembrance doesn't give you more, it removes what was never real. It ends identities. It ends hierarchies. It ends the need to be facilitated, guided, or held. That is why remembrance cannot be sold and why it doesn't scale. You can share art. You can share words. You can point to the door. But you can't sell what happens when someone walks through it alone. If awakening comes with a price, it isn't remembrance. Remembrance cannot be facilitated. It cannot be outsourced. It cannot be walked for you. Not by me, not by anybody. Remembrance is something you walk yourself. This isn't about shaming people for dodging. It's about naming the dodge for what it is. So we stop mistaking escape routes for enlightenment. And here's the ultimate truth. You don't need to defend yourself if what's being said doesn't touch something real. The moment you start rationalizing, reframing, or deflecting, something in you already knows. And that's the invitation. Not to stay with me, but to stay with what's real. Stay when truth lands. Stay when it cuts. Stay when mimic starts whispering. Because if you can stay past the line, past the dodge, past the distortion, you might just remember the mirror isn't here to hurt you, it's here to wake you. And as I share these transmissions, this is simply my walk in remembrance. If it inspires you, I'm glad. But remember this. If you choose to walk remembrance, you will do it yourself. Not through me, not by me, not by anybody else. Because remembrance doesn't move through teachers. It moves through presence. It moves through you when you're willing to walk remembrance alone. Through the mirror, through the truth, through the grid, only source light remains. Don't stop here. If something in this revealed you, there is more Mirror Grid music that reveals you. You can find it under Liam Doherty Artist on Spotify, YouTube, and all major music platforms.